A fast reducing in consumer demand for fossil embers could see world economical losses of $1 to $4 billion by 2035 onto a new paper. Power effectiveness and low-carbon sequestration technique could reason the downturn, though if governments' failure to get new stairs to encounter the Paris environment goals. The resultant carbon sequestration bladder could reason losses greater rather than the 2008 finance meltdown, the authors tell. The US and Canada would be the largest losers, the research finds. Time down there has been an increasing motion for divesting of shares in fossil gas companies in latter year. The segment yet accounts for 6% of world stockpile markets and 12% in the UK. Study has frequently focused on how these investment would be struck if the planet conducted new activity to range the world growth in temperature to so by 2C as coordinated in Paris in 2015. But the new paper looks at the effect of low-carbon sequestration technique in revolving power, the electrification of transportation and more effectiveness in gas utilize, on consumer demand for fossil gas irrelevant of if new environment policies are adopted or no. They as well involve the effect of a fast sale away of oil and gas reserves by making countries thirsty to get rid of the embers up they be useless. The authors say how by 2035, $1 billion could be graded off the world economics if no new actions to range heating to less than rather than 2 degrees are undertaken. The could growth to $4 billion if new policies to limit emissions future are kit. Lot investors don't get the carbon sequestration bladder severely, they say how environment policies win be adopted, and if they are adopted they win be hard, and though if they are hard they win be adopted at any time quickly, which we are proverb is, how doesn't question. The authors say how time down there will be several considerable losers. The common effect on world GDP will potential be balance in countries love Japan, China and the EU vision occupation increase on in their economies as their imports of fossil embers will be lot more profitable. It is potential disastrous for top price producers, told Professor Jorge Vinuals. This US will afflict in all events, the identical for Russia and Canada. They could enhance their position by driving off of invest in fossil embers and hard to evolve revolving power. Several scientists and investors trust how fossil embers will go on to act a considerable part and twisted holdings can be avoiding if technologies such as carbon sequestration seize and store, CCS, can be advanced and developed. Some experts say this is a dangerous supposition. Lot model suppose how CCS will be price competition at several spot, importance how fossil embers could yet do up a portion of a cheap carbon power mix, yet he's not precise how the technique will always be price competitive out of a considerable growth in present levels of invest, told Sini Matikainen, politics analysis at the Grantham Study Institution, who wasn't implicated in the research. This authors as well use a 2-extent script, so by the reduce, more than aspiring 1.5 extent goal of the Paris Treaty, the losses of twisted holdings could potential be though greater rather than the document suggests. Some observers spot out how in several components of the planet, the go-off of fossil embers has happened already. I believe we are vision the act of, told Sheila Whitley of the Across the Sea Growth Institution, who include bin investigation the connection among twisted holdings and charcoal-fired force stations in India. We mind while we begun the 3 year ago how the would act out above the following 10 years, it is already event. In India, you include social banks proverb they include to compose downward all kinds of holdings on their books, down there are all kinds of new policies upcoming in location, it is event lot more than rapidly rather than human beings imaginary. If activity is undertaken quickly, the carbon sequestration bladder can be deflated say the authors. A easy at first move would be to need all corporations to reveal their exposition to twisted holdings. If the bladder isn't dealt in rapidly, the destruction of fossil gas manufacture may conduct to policy coup, and the growth of neurotism. Thing the author's terror may be event already. We include not proven the connection in neurotism in the research but my get is how the is why several administrations are reliant on fossil gas policies, told Professor Vinuals, or they are winner and receive a powerful election basis since the human beings work in such sectors include incurred a lot already.